Now, this story comes from Spain. One of the nice things about Spain is that when the Moors invaded, sometime in the 7th century or thereabouts, they brought culture with them. They came and they set up museums and libraries and universities. Now, the thing about universities is where there are universities, there are university students. And even hundreds of years ago, the nature of a university student was to be, well, flat broke. This was particularly the case for a young man by the name of Juan Rivas. Now, Juan Rivas was a study in contradictions. He could be both stupid, smart, and average all at the same time. You see, he was an average student. Not too good at his studies, not too bad. But he was very stupid when it came to how he managed his money. Instead of spending it on food and clothes and books and tuition, he would usually fritter it away on entertainment, expensive drinks, bottles of wine, expensive dates with women that he really wasn't going to see again. But he did have a certain smartness about him. You see, Juan Rivas had a quick mind and a quicker mouth. Now, it so happened that one day, Juan Rivas discovered that he was down to his last peseta. And he decided, I have to make some money. And he started formulating a plan in his head, but it was a plan where he was going to need some help. So he went and he found some of his classmates, some of his school friends. He got them together and said, how would you like to make some money? And they're like, since when do you have money, Juan Rivas? You always throw it away on things. He said, listen, I know that I don't have a great reputation with money, but I have changed my ways. From here on forth, I will not fritter away my money. If you will just come with me and help me in this one act, we'll take the money, we'll split it up, and I will be a new man. Now, they didn't particularly believe him, but they were also flat broke. They just spent their money on more important things. So they went with it. Now, Juan Rivas and his friends went to this stretch of road. The road led from the edge of town to the marketplace. And it was late in the day, and it was kind of a hot day, and they waited there, and they watched merchants coming and going down the road, till finally they saw one merchant coming along with a whole train of mules. And this merchant was sitting on the lead mule. He was kind of dozing off. It had been a long day. It was a hot day. He was... So Juan Rivas knew that was his mark. So he stole out from behind the hedge that they were hiding behind, and he crept up to the final mule in the train. And he went up to the harness and he started unbuckling the harness. And he was very careful not to shake it too much because there were bells on the harness, just in case, you know. So he took it off and he took it off the mule, and the mule was just kind of left standing there as the rest of the train went on. Then Juan Rivas' friends rushed out, put a rope around the mule's neck, and led it back down to the marketplace. Now, what does Juan Rivas do carrying this harness for a mule? He straps it on himself. So he's walking along with the mule train, and he starts shaking it so the bells ring. Ding, 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 ding. The mule driver just kind of looks back, looks forward again. He's still kind of sleepy. So Juan Rivas figures, okay, apparently I have to put in a little more effort. So he jumps up and down, he pulls it left and right, till finally the merchant has to pull over his train of mules and go back and see what's wrong. And boy, is he surprised to see a human being strapped into his mule harness. He says, what exactly is going on here? Juan Rivas looks down at himself. He's like, oh my God. Praise be to God, finally my sentence has ended. Thank you, thank you. My punishment is through. Oh, glorious day. Isn't it great, sir? And the merchant looks rather confused. Says, okay, what? What's going on? He says, oh, well, you apparently don't understand. You see, in my former life, I was a great sinner. I would run around drinking in inns and running around with loose women, and I never went to church. In fact, I said some pretty harsh words about Mother Church, so God in his infinite wisdom decided to punish me by turning me into a mule. And lucky me, you bought that mule, and you fed it, and you watered it, and you brought it into the stables when it was raining. I have to thank you, sir. You took good care of me when I was a mule. You're a good man. Thank you. The merchant kind of scratches his head and says, well, the mule's gone. No one took it, not that I know of, and God is all-powerful, so... Okay, I believe it. Well, you know what? I always knew something was strange about that mule. Mario says, yes, finally those days are over. He starts unbuckling his harness and taking it off. Says, I'm afraid I must be going. I'm a new man now. I can do so much more. I wish I could give you money to pay for the mule you've lost, but I didn't have any money on me as a mule, so... But you know what? You can live knowing that the son of a grandee of Spain served you as a beast of burden. Now, Juan Rivas was really upping his game here, because a grandee of Spain, well, they're kind of a big deal. They're like nobility. They're like being knights. To be made a grandee of Spain is to be given a whole lot of power. So the merchant looks at him and says, you are a grandee of Spain? And one of them says, yes, I was. The merchant's like, oh, to think of all the times when I kicked you to get you moving faster, or I cussed you out for being stubborn, or made you carry those heavy loads, or and that time I nearly traded you for a cow so I could have some milk, and all this time you were a grandee of Spain. Oh, all the things I've done, you'll never forgive me. You'll have me executed or imprisoned or executed. Ugh. Monero says, no, don't worry. You know, how would you know that your mule was not really a mule? You know, I think it would be best if we just parted as friends, you know? That would be the greatest thing we could do here. You took good care of me. It could have been far worse, you know? You fed me, you watered me. It's for the best. But I'm going to leave, and I'm going to see if my parents are still alive. Oh, they will be so glad to see me. Oh, thank you. Says, oh, well, thank you for not having me punished for all the things I did. Oh, and I'll never tell anyone that you were a mule. One Rivas says, you know, that's probably for the best. Thank you. And he turns around and starts walking, whistling, down to the marketplace, where his friends were waiting with a bag of coins and a hot meal to celebrate. Now, a couple weeks later, the merchant is down at this big livestock fair they're having down at the marketplace. And he's going to buy a new mule because he's a mule short. So he's there and he's talking to a friend, and his friend's like, I don't get it. Why don't you just... Why did you get rid of your old mule? It was a perfectly good mule. The merchant says, well, you know, I had my reasons. I'd rather not talk about them. His friend says, well, if I were you, I'd just buy back my own mule, because isn't that it over there? The merchant turns and looks, it can't be. It's the same mule that he had before. You see, one Rivas's friends had brought it down and sold it to a livestock dealer who had brought it to the livestock fair today to sell again. Now, what is the merchant thinking? Is he thinking, oh, I've been tricked? Is he thinking, wow, that's a really familiar-looking mule? Now, he walks up to the mule and he says, my friend, my lord, I'm so sorry. It seems you must have sinned again. Once again, you're being punished. Oh, it's so hard to change our ways. I would buy you and put you to work again as my mule and take care of you, but knowing that you're really human and that you're a grandee of Spain, I couldn't possibly put you to work the way a proper working mule should. I just wouldn't have the heart for it. Hopefully someone else will buy you and be a better master. And he turns around, throws his arms up in the air and says, oh, Providence is so cruel. Walks away, buys a different mule, and leaves none the wiser. Now, Juan Rivas, he did okay for himself. Took the money and he bought food. And he bought books for his classes the next semester. And he paid some of his tuition off, and then he spent it on a round of drinks for everybody, and then he spent it on going to plays when he should have been studying, and then he spent it on dates with women that he really didn't have anything in common with, till finally he had wasted his money down to the last peseta, just like he said he would never do again. But you know how it is. Just because you send someone to university does not mean that they will learn. The end.